The 90s were a great time for movies and action figures, but there were just some movies that never had an action figure line that should have. So let's look at 10 action figures that should have been made based on movies back in the 90s. Welcome back to the Junkman, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with yet another video. Can you believe it's time for another video? 2 videos today, one at noon, one at 8. All times Eastern. So if you don't get an alert or you don't know there's a new video, just come look. There's going to be a video. My goal for you is when you're bored, there's always something new for you to watch. So we're going to look at movies from the 90s that should have had an action figure line. And don't tell me in the comment section, Junkman, in 2012 they made... No, I'm talking about when the movie came out and an action figure line. And one that's probably aimed more for kids. I miss when action figures were aimed for kids, don't you? That's what I liked about action figures. They were for kids. Now you get some of them come out and they're 9 inches tall, 12 inches tall, and they look like a model kit. I like a toy that looks like you can play with it. That looks like you can put it in a ship. Looks like you can throw it down the stairs. I miss toys when toys were toys and not just collectibles. But maybe I'm just an old fart. So let's look at this list of movie lines that should have had an action figure line. And I'm going to start with one that's actually probably aimed more for kids, but I think it would have been kind of cool. Home Alone. Why did they make an action figure line for Home Alone? They could have done, could have had, what's his name? Kevin McAllister. What's his name? Kevin McAllister. You could have had him, sold him as a single figure, but if you bought the house play set, maybe you got Marv and Bern. Was that their name? Marv and Bern? I think that was their name. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. You could have had a house playset that had all these gadgets and little traps and everything in it. That would have been an awesome playset. Maybe a Mellowy figure of the old man that came with the shovel to shovel the snow. Maybe even a picture of Buzz's girlfriend. Ugh! That you could put inside the playhouse. This would have been awesome. Like I said, you want to do a playset, of course, with the house. Maybe those 2 figures, and maybe just a Kevin figure by young. So people that didn't want to buy the house, they could just have Kevin to play along. I don't know why they didn't do that. That would have been great. Now oh, great FaceTime. Don't you hate FaceTime videos? Junkman, I got one for you. They should have made action figures based on the basketball Diaries. What a good movie. That would have been so awesome.
I would have loved that. That would have been great. Why didn't they do that?
I don't know. They could have made like a basketball court and some figures.
Maybe a drug dealer.
Oh, that would have been awesome. Why didn't they do that? Junkman, why didn't they do it? Why didn't they? No, that was stupid. Let's get on with the list here. GoldenEye, one of the best James Bond movies, and we never really got a good James Bond line. I know they've been some James Bond figures here and there, but we never had a good James Bond line. And what better line to do it with than GoldenEye? A lot of kids were in the movie. A lot more kids, or a lot less kids, or a lot of kids were into the GoldenEye Nintendo 64 game. Cruising down the street in my 6'4". Yeah, I don't know how he was cruising down the street in a Nintendo 64. I still haven't figured that out, but man, Eazy-E is a god. R in peace. Easy. R.I.P. Easy. Anyway, what were we talking? Oh, GoldenEye figures. One of the best James Bond. Although I'm partial to Timothy Dalton. I like Timothy Dalton. Why don't Timothy Dalton get more love? Sean Connery, of course, is the GOAT, as they say. I hate that. I hate when people say that when it comes to James Bond. And I haven't seen Daniel Craig, but he looks like a good part. He looks like he'd be good. And this is Pierce Bronson. Who's that other one they never talk about? George Lindsay. They never bring up George Lindsay. I think he only did one James Bond movie. Gets no love. Come on, George Lindsay was a good James Bond. And again, I like Timothy Dalton. But anyway, getting back to GoldenEye, he would make a pretty cool one. And here's another one. I can't believe they didn't do this because the movie was a big hit. Released in 1999. I didn't like it. I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it. I think I saw it too late. I saw it after the hype and everything. And I was like, this is it. The Matrix. I know a lot of you guys love The Matrix. I was kind of jealous. I was like, oh, everybody's talking about The Matrix, but the Phantom Menace. But I just got tired of that slow motion bender. But they could have done a figure line like that. Maybe he bent backwards and you could have some, I don't know, toy bullets fly over him. They could have done a lot with the Matrix line. They could have done. Why didn't they make? And don't tell me McFarlane made a Matrix. Again, we're talking about a toy line for kids back during the actual release of the thing. The Matrix. That would have been a good line. I ain't gonna lie to you. And Junkman, I hear you making a video of action figures that should have been made in the 90s based on a movie. Well, how about one of the greatest movies of the 90s?
Kids. And who else buys action figures? Kids. So this is just right to sell. Kids. They walk in the store to see kids on a package, they'll buy it. Kids. It's a great movie. And it's got a lot of kids in it. Kids like to buy kids. They can really relate to it. Let's do it. Let's make action figures based on kids. Why didn't they do that? They never do anything cool.
That would be the stupidest toy line ever. Sorry, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Now here's one you know is going to be on my list because it's one of my favorite movies ever, and that is The Professional, or Leon, The Professional, whatever one you want to call it. Natalie Portman, Janet Reno. This is a great movie. I love this movie. If you ever see it, see the longer cut, the non-US cut, the US cutouts, the other cuts are the ones to see. But God, I would have loved to have a Matilda, a Leon figure. What, Stansfield? Is that who Gary Oldman played? Oh, that would have been awesome too. That would have been awesome. Maybe a play set. What kind of play set do you do? I don't know. Maybe at the beginning when he's hanging from the roof. Maybe one of the where you can have. Oh, the apartment at the end. That's it. The apartment at the end. You blow the door away and Leon's hanging at the top. He can drop down and shoot some cops. Well, I guess they're not going to release a toy that shoot cops, especially in the 90s. Today they probably would, but I don't know about that. But let's move on. Let's move on and look at another.
Hey, Junkman, I got one for you. Why did they do Leaving Las Vegas? Nicolas Cage, everybody wants a Nicolas Cage figure. Leaving Las Vegas would have been great. Oh, they could have done so much. Yeah, they could have made the strip police and everything. Where's the strip? Get out of here. Oh, you get out of here. You get out of here. Oh, Leaving Las Vegas. Leaving Las Vegas.
The stupidest thing I ever heard of. Hanging up now. Hanging up on you. Prank caller. Okay, number, I don't know where we're on anymore. Leaving, I see, you're gonna mess me up. I was about to say his. Speed, not Speed Racer, Speed. Remember Speed? With Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Is it Sandra Bullock or Sandra Bullock? I don't want to say nothing wrong. I feel stupid if I say the name wrong. You could have done, this would have been easy. 2 figures and a bus. You could have got a Dennis Hopper figure. We already got a Dennis Hopper figure in the 80s, thanks to the Mario movie. We could have had another one. Put him on the bus. You could have had the guy from Ferris Bueller. You know, that his friend Ferris Bueller was in the movie. You could have had a Jeff Daniels figure, but you could have had a little thing where you put the figure on, a little bed thing, and it rolls under the bus. You could have done so much with this. You could have had maybe an RC bus that blows up or something. This would have been so awesome. I know there wouldn't have been many figures in the line. You know, you just want Keanu Reeves and maybe, I don't know, remember that bus driver? Like the first, not Sandra Bullock, but the other first driver. He was a weird looking dude, wasn't he? And remember that guy that had a convertible? He was always just riding up on him and stuff. I think he came back for the second one. Nobody talks about the second one. Who was in that? Jason Bateman. Ooh, I didn't like that. Oh, let's move on. And another one that...
Junkman, I have one more for you. And it's probably the greatest movie of the 90s. And they should have done it. Actually, I don't understand why they didn't. And it was called JFK. Oh, it's educational and toys. This would have been great.
Hey, I remember that. I was there in Dallas when it happened.
You were not.
I was too. They could have done a limousine. That would have been awesome.
And maybe a playset that comes with the book suppository.
Book suppository? Yeah, the book suppository. That would have been awesome. Maybe a mail away of the green grassy knoll.
The grassy knoll? How do you know about the grassy knoll?
I was there, I told you. I was giving Jack Ruby a BJ behind the grassy knoll.
That was you?
I was one of them. Oh, let's go talk about that.
Hold on. I think it's time to turn my phone completely off. I should have done that to start with. We only got time for one more. This top 10 list wasn't even 10 anymore. I only got to like 4 on the list. But we'll put this at number 1. We'll put this at number 1 because this is the main one. This is the one you all are screaming. Why didn't they do it? And you know, the Junkman's going to talk about it. This is the obvious one. Time Runner. The 90s movie with Mark Hamill. We would have got a Mark Hamill figure in the 90s. Sure, we got a Mark Hamill figure as Luke Skywalker in the 90s, but it was based on the 80s or late 70s Mark Hamill. We could have got a 90s Mark Hamill. Time Runner. Who doesn't love Time Runner? It's one of the greatest movies ever made. Trust me, everybody loves it. I guess I didn't turn it off.
Junkman, I just want to tell you, no one remembers that movie. No one even went to see that movie.
No one knows Time Runner?
Oh, Junkman, nobody even knows what that is. Sure, we all love Mark Hamill, he's a national treasure, but no one cares about that movie, and no one wants action figures from it.
It's not. I thought it was one of the most popular, greatest movies of the 90s. It's Mark Hamill, for God's sake. I'm sure you guys seen it out there. Well, I want to thank you for watching. As always, thumbs up on my content. Subscribe to the channel. We will talk again.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.